Okay, hello. I've noticed there's been this article shared around on some groups on Facebook, and this seems absolutely ridiculous, as most of these articles I seem to come across are. This one here's from Nottinghamshire Live. So this is about knives without knives without a tip. So it's still a functioning knife. It's still got an edge. It's still an actual knife for the kitchen. It doesn't have a point to it. It's literally pointless. I mean, have a look here at the picture. It's got a blunt, rounded tip. If you can imagine like an up and nail kids knife or a Mora kids knife or a My Victorinox Swiss Army knife, you've got a similar deal here, but it's a kitchen knife. Now, the police in Nottinghamshire, from what I've gathered, now I've had a little look at the article, but as usual, I'm not gonna sit and read the whole thing because number one, these articles, honestly, they really make me angry, and the other thing is, maybe a copyright issue. I don't know. I'm just a guy who likes to make videos. I don't really care to look at legal shit, so let's just have a look at this. So, from what I've gathered, police in Nottinghamshire are trialling out these knives, which are supposed to be a much safer alternative to normal knives with a point to them. These knives are quite literally pointless. The idea is to stop you being able to stab someone with this, and that may or may not work. I don't know. Now, I have actually tested knives that do have rounded tips, and it is a lot harder to punch or something. I mean, that's kind of obvious, to be fair. But the problem is, though, it's not going to be hard to modify a knife like this to put a nail point on it. Anyone who sharpens knives or who makes knives or knows anything at all about metalworking or anything of the sort, can put a tip on these knives. I mean, 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes with an angle grinder or a bench grinder or a file or a diamond stone or oil stone or water stone, whatever. You could easily put a needle point on these knives, and you could easily put a razor edge on them. I find it pretty insane that the police in Britain are actually going to this length to try and, I don't know, how would you put it, to be this safe. I mean, of course you could hurt someone with a knife, obviously, but this is going to absolute extremes. Now, this is saying that they're giving these knives to victims of domestic abuse and domestic violence. So if there's a house where a partner has been violent, especially when it involves a knife, you could voluntarily swap your kitchen knives for these knives, and these are supposed to be a safer alternative. That's all very well and good, but what's going to stop said person going to the shop and buying more kitchen knives? Or getting them from a friend, or going into the toolbox and taking out a Stanley knife or a screwdriver. I don't know how many times I've got to say this, or a pair of scissors, or a razor blade, or absolutely anything else with a point, or a tip, or an edge, even a saw. I mean, this may stop you from being stabbed or stabbing someone with this, but as you can see here, and it's still got a functioning edge, and a not bad edge at that, I might add. I mean, that is, now I absolutely will criticise a knife of a sharpness, and obviously you can't tell how sharp a knife is through a picture, but it's actually reasonably well ground. I mean, it's a serviceable edge. Now, one thing I'd like to actually point out here, if we have a look at these pictures here, that may be difficult to see. I'm kind of struggling to see it myself, but that's actually Taylor's Eyewitness. Taylor's Eyewitness is a fairly old knife company from Sheffield, England. They've been around since the 1800s. I find this a little disappointing because they're kind of digging their own grave by doing this sort of thing. Because being a knife company, they make knives. I mean, my worry is the government may decide to completely ban normal kitchen knives and replace it with this. I mean, we've already had a judge in Britain, Nick Mage, suggest that all pointy kitchen knives should be taken somewhere to a facility to be ground down and blunted because they're too sharp and pointy. So I think this is a really, maybe a dangerous path we're going down. I mean, do we really want to be this safe? I mean, obviously no one wants to see anyone get hurt, but I think we're going to extremes, and I think this is one example of it. I don't think there's really that much more to say about it, so I'm just going to leave it at that. But please give me your thoughts below. I think this is insane, and I'm completely against it. In fact, one thing here, 100 knives will be handed out, and apparently they've already handed out 50. Anyway, like I said, I'll leave it at that. Let me know what your thoughts are below. Cheers, I'll see you later.